Welcome to Faith Stories with DawnDeMarco-Book. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they will see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16.
And welcome to Faith Stories. I'm Dawn DeMarco-Book. What is Faith Stories? Faith Stories is people from all walks of life, Christians from all walks of life, who share their stories of faith, hope, and love. And my prayer is that you would come to know the Lord through these stories, but also get to know Him through His Word. So if you need a Bible, please email me at that's my old email. New email is FaithStorieswDawn@gmail.com. Okay, Stacy Herring's book. Stacy was passed away in September of 2024. I encourage you to go check out her book. You can get it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and it'll help her family. She has 2 teenage daughters and a husband, and it would help them tremendously and it's a really, really good book, you guys. It's about a young teenage girl who got in a fight with her mom, ran away from home, and got picked up in child trafficking, and it's a great page turner, and it's definitely worth a good read. All right, you guys, we're gonna go for a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Broughton Garage Door Sales now offers you a difference with the LiftMaster Secure View Ultra Quiet Smart Opener with camera, LED 360-degree lighting, and battery backup. Built-in camera adds video and two-way audio communication to the MyQ app. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. Schedule today at broughton.com.
Just simply call Broughton. We open doors for you.
Tavilla Properties, located at 11471 West Sample Road, Suite 17, located in Coral Springs, Florida, for all your commercial needs. Call Jan at 954-341-1632. That's 954-341-1632, or visit www.tavillaproperties.com. Welcome back to Faith Stories. If you have any prayer requests, please email me at faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. That's faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. Okay, welcome back. I had a little snort there before we came on air. I want to introduce my guest today is Mark Adduci, and this is the first time we met, but we spoke on the phone, and Mark was diagnosed with a rare form of, it's
osteoarthritis.
called osteoarthritis at the age of 8. So he's going to share his story and how God impacted his life. So, Mark.
Dawn,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's already been fun. We haven't done anything yet. So.
Yeah, we were laughing before we got on the air, but
yes.
That last one made me snort, so that was a good one.
Thank you. So my story really begins, a long time ago. I was, going back to being a child from early on.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of those kids that cried all the time.
Did you really?
And people just, when a kid cries, what do you think? Oh God, just shut him up. But at the age of 8, I was diagnosed with multiple epiphyseal dysplasia, which
I'm
is
glad you said
basically-
that, because there was no way I was saying that.
which is a progressive form of osteoarthritis that basically just tears down the joints. So
that must have been extremely painful.
it's one of those things when people always ask, are you in pain? And I'm like, well, it's all relative. I've had pain since I was 5. So I don't know what it's like not to,
Okay.
So, but it's, so thankfully through my diagnosis, they were able to go back and diagnose my mom and my grandmother
Really?
and my aunt. So it's a congenital,
hereditary.
it's a congenital disease. I don't know if it still is. At one time it was on like the 10 rarest disease list.
Really?
But so because of it, I've had multiple hip surgeries. So my story, as far as begins, so I grew up Catholic, grew up.
See, it's that Italian thing, and
yeah,
we always are raised Catholic, and then we either stay Catholic or we go in another direction.
Yeah, and my
right?
family still is all Catholic, you
Yeah.
know. But I went and married a Southern Baptist girl.
Oh
so,
my word! They must have loved that.
Yeah. So this has nothing to do with our situation here, but when the priest got up to speak at our wedding, the wind howled outside, and they swore that it was Satan entering the building.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so,
Really?
So
That's great.
Yeah. So I gradually left the dark side, and so we go to a denominational church and love it, but so at the age of 37, I had a bilateral hip replacement. I had both my hips replaced at the same time. And
how do you recover from that, though?
Surprisingly, fairly easily.
Really?
I mean, I never, going into it, I thought, how the heck? But
Right.
yeah, I had a great physician, and it was a fairly easy. It was, considering looking back at it, at the time certainly it wasn't, but. And then
Hindsight, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's piece of cake.
yeah, and but I never. So I've had 8 total hip replacements. I've had 3 on the right side's fine, 5 on the left. My body rejected every replacement they ever put in my left side until finally I ended up with a massive bone infection, and they ended up removing everything from my left side. So if I start to slouch, I'm not being lazy. I have no hip on the left side, and it tries to make me slouch a little bit sometimes. Yeah, but but through anesthesia affects everybody differently.
Absolutely.
And for me, every time I went under anesthesia, I came out of it, and I'd go through a bout of depression for a while, and then I'd be fine. But after one of the surgeries, I think it must have been 2003, I just went into a dark place, and I couldn't figure out how to get out of it. But for whatever reason, God takes us to places that we don't see the reason for it at the time.
No,
and
that's so true.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons I've been through everything, which is again totally separate, as you know, I'm a chiropractic physician, so I'm able to empathize with my patients, which I love. I understand why they're in pain and how they feel, and so that part of it is great. But through this depression, I started journaling. So just to write my thoughts down, and I found that as I wrote things down, I was able to sort of just get rid of them. And the more
That is so true, Mark, because when I'm in whether I'm in a good place or a bad place, and you write it down, it's like you release it, and God takes it from you. He does,
right? Absolutely, yes, for sure. And through that journey, I've always been an avid reader. My mother was an amazing writer. She was a great poet, and anything with the written word, she just ate up. And so through this journaling, it's one of those things where, characters came to mind, and I just started to write down different things about characters.
Now, had you ever done that before? Or
No,
this was something after that last surgery.
That
you
was
went
something
into
after
depression,
that. Yeah, it was.
And you were a man of faith anyway, correct?
Yes, I was.
So as a result of this darkness that you walked through, God revealed to you a gift.
Yeah. So it's amazing how different aspects of your life kind of they coalesce into something greater.
Right,
or
that you don't realize, hello.
So, so it's funny because before the surgery, and for whatever reason, because I've never been, I wish I could tell you differently, but I've never been a person that studied scripture.
Right.
But before this surgery, I just really started to study the book of Genesis. And then the surgery happened, and the depression, and the journaling, and again, I just started to write characters down, and then ideas for a plot came into my head. And so, but all of it coalesced into what became my first novel, which was Cursed Blessing, which is a Christian thriller that was...
I'm not on camera. Here, you hold it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Cursed Blessing.
Yeah. So that
Which is amazing, because you said that you had never written before.
No, never.
That to me is so incredible, and that you just started like after, so let me go back to the Genesis thing. So you studied Genesis, which, you know, that's the like the lineage, right?
Right.
And then it goes, so how long did you study that before you started?
I don't know. I was probably, you know, studying the book for not a, maybe 3-4 months. Not a great time, you know, but one story always struck with me, and that was Noah's Ark, because, you know, in the Bible it talks about the fact that before the flood, you know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, man lived for hundreds of years, you know, and
like like crazy.
Yeah, and you never heard mentioned disease or pestilence or you know, illness. But after the flood, you know, God mandated that no man will live past 120, and now all of a sudden you see disease and illness, and you know, and all of these things come into existence.
I blame
So,
Adam and
you know,
Eve.
Yeah. So
Sorry, I just do.
yeah, we can blame everything on them. Yeah. So,
Had they just listened.
I know.
But
right?
I'm sorry, none of us listened
Apple
to
was
God.
not that good.
Right?
So, yeah.
Exactly. And listening to God, you know, it's funny because he will show you, if you have ears to hear, spiritual ears to hear.
Yeah.
Listen
Absolutely.
to him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But we don't.
No.
A lot of times we just go off on our own path, and then
Right.
it's like, no, that's not what I wanted you to do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's so it was you know, it was one of those things that honestly, you know, it was the hand of God, because like you said, I never wrote before. I never wanted to write. I hated writing in school. You know,
Right. I mean, that's
and
so
it was,
crazy.
You know, yeah. I have the penmanship of a dog.
Oh, that's
you know,
that's my husband. Can't read his
so
writing.
I can't read my own writing half the time.
See, but you're a
you know.
doctor, so you can get away with it.
You know, and because of that, I always write since I want to say high school, but I know definitely from college. I've always written with a fountain pen, because it
Really?
forces me to write a little bit neater than I would with any
Okay.
other writing instrument. So that helps, and that kind of entered the book also. But so what happened is that through all of this, I started drafting a novel. You know, that was
How did
based
you know
on.
how to draft a novel? Did you
I didn't.
go
I knew
on
nothing. Just honestly, just from everything that I had read. You know, I knew.
Okay.
I knew what a good book sounded like.
Okay.
You know, and I knew, but I knew nothing about structure, nothing whatsoever, and so, and then once I had it written, I started joining some local writers groups.
Okay.
You know, and they would come at me and say, well. Yeah, it sounds great, but you know, your POV is everywhere. And I go, yeah, you're right.
Point of
and
view?
I go home and go, what the heck is a POV? You know?
I was thinking the same thing. What is that? Is point of view?
Point of view.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
You know,
woohoo!
whose head you're in? You know, whose character's head you're in that you hear their
Right.
thoughts.
Kind of go like squirrel over here.
Yeah. But and you know, and the premise behind the book was basically that. You know, instead of, you know, in the story of Noah's Ark in Genesis, you know, he sends the dove out and trying to find land, right? And finally, the dove comes back with an olive branch. But so I started thinking, well, what was it that allowed people, besides God, certainly, to live for hundreds of years without disease before the flood? But after the flood, now we have limited lifespans, and we have all of these issues. So, in my insane mind, I had the dove come back with what is the herb of life, that one plant that allowed people to live, you know, injury-free, healthy for hundreds of years, and God saying to Noah that, you know, this is the last branch of the herb of life that must be passed down from generation to generation by one person of each generation that is ethical and moral enough to carry it, but to never use it. And that if anyone ever ingests this herb, that once again Armageddon will occur, and this time nobody will be saved.
Okay.
So the book opens with the main.
So that's this book.
Yeah. So yeah, and this is his spiritual journey through all 4 novels.
And who is he? What
His
character is that?
so his name is Brent Venturi. He is
Brent Venturi.
At this point, when you meet him, he is a colonel in the Marines,
Okay.
and leader of
Intense.
a black ops group called the Phantom Squad, which is the which
More
is the
intense.
actual which is the actually the series name is the Phantom Squad.
So it's a black ops. So how did you learn about the writing process? So you have to do a lot of research because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know anything about black ops, right? Or do you?
My father was in naval intelligence.
Oh, okay.
And I did. Again, we're going to go way off key here, but I ended up long story, but I'll just cut to the chase. But I ended up in college. At the time, that was I'm going to age myself, but that was like the last year of President Carter's.
Oh, that's
Yeah. So this and. He was speaking at what then was the Northeastern Nuclear Energy Conference.
Okay.
And they were looking for bodies to do crowd surveillance and so on. And at that time I I belonged to a service organization at the school that was similar to like Skull and Bones at Yale.
Oh, okay. Which is not good.
But yeah,
we won't go into that.
Without the deception
That's a whole
and,
other
and the
like
intrigue.
series.
But so I was an easy one to pick because I was really easy for them to clear because of my father's position. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had been cleared through the government since we were born because of what he did for a living.
Okay.
So so I was chosen.
Interesting.
And we ended up going. The few of us that were chosen, we went to the Secret Service Academy, which is basically in Quantico for 3 months to learn nonverbal language cues more than anything.
Okay, this is very interesting.
Yeah, so from that, I ended up working that event and then working with a contractor for a number of years at events throughout anything east of the Mississippi if the president was going to speak. So we would go and
you just be part of the crowd.
We do
and watch
pre-event screening. So
okay.
When President-elect Trump was shot during the rally in Pennsylvania, and they blamed it on the fact that there wasn't enough pre-event screening, right? And that spot that from the rooftop should have been covered.
I mean, hello.
That's what we did.
Okay.
We went out and went out 2 weeks to a month before, and any place where a sniper or somebody could be held.
Right.
We made sure those places were covered at the time of the event.
Gotcha.
And so
you had that knowledge.
So I had that. So I had some
forward.
of that knowledge. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was able to bring that forth, and then, I have a lot of friends that were military, both U.S. and Israeli, and they helped me quite a bit.
Wow.
With that part of it also.
So share more about what this book is about.
So it's all about that herb of life that is lost. Nobody knows where it is, and Brent Venturi is supposed to be this generation's keeper, the keeper of the keys, or the ambassador to Noah's lineage.
Okay.
But he doesn't know it, and all he knows is that he's being chased and somebody's trying to kill him,
and he doesn't know understand why.
Right.
Oh, so that's the journey.
So that's the beginning of the book.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the whole journey in this book is, having him learn what it is that he's supposed to be doing and trying to find that herb.
Was he a Christian in the book?
He was. He was a Christian. He was a Christian who.
Christmas and Easter?
Yes. No, he was a man of faith, but but through one of his past missions, he lost a lot of that faith.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is his.
That can happen very easily. Yeah.
So it's all about him refinding that faith and his security in God and in Christ through this 4-book series.
Okay.
And and at the same time, it deals with the missions that they go on in order for him to go through that journey. Wow. And he reunites with his team, and so ends up taking them. Actually, the last book ends up taking them to Mount Ararat and the last place of Noah's Ark.
I want to know, because now people self-publish,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So this is not self-published.
Originally, no.
Originally, no. So
this-
tell us the process of how you got to be published. Because
a lot
that is
of
all,
crying.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So no, it
any
was
kind of dream
you
that
know,
we have, right?
Yeah. So it was honestly for me, it was again, you know, God steps in. I had no idea. Again, I didn't know how to write. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea how to write a query letter, which is what you send to an agent, hoping that they will
pick you up and
right.
sell you to the publisher.
Yeah, that they will be
Okay.
interested enough to say, "Hey, can I have the first few chapters of your book?" And then,
Right.
so after sending out literally over 100 of these query letters,
Right.
you know, and getting an equal amount of rejections, I just said, you know, maybe this isn't meant to be. And then
Yep.
somebody that we knew was in the industry and said, you know what, let me give your book to someone of notoriety that, you know, in a publishing company.
Okay.
And they read it and they liked it. So I ended up being their first non-agented author.
Really?
Yeah. And
okay.
so, and then I was with them for, that would have been 2009. The first book came out in 2010. I was with them through 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long
which
time. So all 4 of these books are through
originally
that
came
publisher?
through that publisher.
Okay.
Yeah. And things change. You know, the directions of publishing companies change. People
now, did
change.
they publish other Christian authors, or were you their first one?
I was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. They were strictly a thriller, mystery thriller, horror
That was
publishing
their
company.
genre.
That was their
Okay.
genre. That
Okay.
that was their thrux.
Well,
So-
that in and of itself is God just like stepping in.
Yeah.
And creating that opportunity for
Yeah,
you.
it was. This whole thing had the hand of God in it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it was like when, you know, through interviews, when people would ask, what is it you want to accomplish through your writing? And for me, you know, especially this series, all I really wanted to do was try to bring people back to their faith like Brent came back to his. You know?
Exactly.
You
Well,
know,
that's what the Faith Stories is about
Yeah.
too. Is just kind of planting the seed and letting you know that God loves you and wants a relationship with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
So
I mean, that's what it's about.
It is. It's all about the relationship,
Yeah.
you know. And I hate to say it's not about the church, but but it's about the
It's not about the
relationship.
church, though.
You know, it's
the
not.
church is just a building. You know, we're to live our lives as Christians Monday through Sunday, 24/7.
Yeah.
You know, and shine God's light
Yeah.
and love.
Yeah.
And it's not just to go on in a church and sit there and hear the preacher preach and then go out and not live a Christian life,
Right.
because that's the thing about Christians that have a bad name.
Yeah.
We're no different than anybody else.
We're
we
not.
have to
We're
be
just-
different
we're
than other
just-
people, right?
Yeah, we're just people.
Right.
But it's
Flawed,
yeah.
like
And
we all are.
And I'm blessed. I have a wife that is just an amazing Christian who shines
Yeah.
her light wherever she goes. So that helps me so much to see
Keeps you
see
centered.
the world through her eyes. Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing that, you have to be equally yoked too,
Yeah.
in marriage. And, when you come together as one under God's covering, there's that three-strand cord that you can't break.
Yeah.
And so she helps you in times where you need, but also I'm sure you do the same thing for her.
I'd like to say it's equally yoked, but I think she's probably more helpful than I am.
I think my husband would say the same thing. The same thing. But you know what? That's okay, because you know what? I think we're all just trying to, just be the best people that we possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
So
His
it's-
love.
Yeah, so it's different layers to every story, but
Yeah.
you'll see on the book that it's I don't write under my name.
And why is that? Oh, because this was in honor of your mom, right?
So my mom unfortunately passed away from pancreatic cancer
Oh, I'm
at
so
the age
sorry.
of at the age of 66.
Oh my gosh,
And
she was young.
yeah, she when she was diagnosed, they again like pancreatic cancer, they gave her like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
She lasted 11 months, which was a
That's-
blessing in itself.
yeah, no kidding.
Which God did that so that she could teach my father how to do laundry and cook. So take care of himself.
This is how you do it, honey.
Yeah.
And so it's under J.M. Leduc.
Yeah, which is my mom's maiden name.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just a way to try to keep her memory alive.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love that. So after your main character, now we have the next book, which is
the one underneath that one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
messed him up. He gave them to me, and I messed him up, of course.
Just trying to make them sparkle and see what happens.
There we go. Yeah. So this next one is Cursed Presents, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to go for a quick break, and we're going to talk about the next 3 books really quick.
You got it.
You see how fast that went?
Very.
Yeah, I'm going ahead a little bit ahead, but let's go to commercial, and we'll be right back.
Broughton Garage Door Sales now offers you a difference with the LiftMaster Secure View Ultra Quiet Smart Opener with camera, LED 360-degree lighting, and battery backup. Built-in camera adds video and 2-way audio communication to the MyQ app. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. Schedule today at broughton.com.
Just simply call Broughton. We open doors for you.
Tavilla Properties, located at 11471 West Sample Road, Suite 17, located in Coral Springs, Florida, for all your commercial needs. Call Jan at 954-341-1632. That's 954-341-1632, or visit www.tavillaproperties.com. Welcome back to Faith Stories. If you have any prayer requests, please email me at faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. That's faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. And welcome back. Okay, Mark.
Okay.
Okay,
So
let's talk
next
about
3
your
books
next
in
one.
2 minutes.
Yeah, 2
All
minutes.
right.
No, you have like 3. A minute a book. That works.
Perfect. So the next 3 books basically just, are his journey back to the man that he always wanted to be. And the second book deals with a serial killer that has the spirit of Satan inside him.
Yeah. Well, I would say every serial killer.
Yeah,
has
that's true. Good point. Yeah. And
Can't
so
be a Christian and going around murdering people.
Yeah. And then the third book, which is Cursed Days, deals with a terrorist group that is very similar to Al-Qaeda. Yes, and him having to basically at some point actually fight his own his own dealings of his own mental issues by dealing with thank you.
You're welcome.
By dealing with this terrorist
I have
group.
those moments where I'm like, I know the word.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then the last book, which is Cornerstone, is his final requiem, so to speak.
So that's the last of that.
It is the last of
he's put to
this
rest.
story.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Oh,
So
okay.
yes, and but at the very end, there's a little bit of it definitely closes out, for sure.
Okay.
But you can see where there could be an opening for a different series, and it's being written as we speak, which is actually his daughter's story. So as far as my Christian thrillers, the next ones will deal with his daughter, Brent's daughter.
Okay.
I'm grateful that I love writing Christian literature, but most of my writing is more mainstream as far as
So you
just
went
gritty.
mainstream after these?
Again, based on at that time my publisher's recommendations.
Okay.
So.
And did you feel like God was saying, yes, this is what I want you to do now?
Yeah, I do. I think only because, the more people that get to know you, then get to look back and see your other work.
Other works.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I get commented more on this series still.
Isn't that amazing? Because
so
God can work
even though the
anything,
last
right?
book was originally published in 2014, and then 2024, I republished them all. So yeah, they were off the market for about 6 years. Yeah.
Fantastic. So where can we get these books?
Your best bet is Amazon. But Barnes and Noble, any of the bookstores carry them, but they may have to order them. But Barnes and Noble's, Amazon is your fastest
Okay,
route to get
yeah.
them usually.
You can get it later today.
And
No.
if you have, if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. So, by all means, download it. So,
Aw,
yes.
wonderful.
So-
Well, Mark, see, didn't that go fast?
It
was
went
like,
way
oh
too
my
fast.
gosh.
Yes.
So thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
in today.
It's
I really
been an
appreciate
honor.
it.
Thank you so much. You've been wonderful.
It was
So,
fun.
yes,
It was good.
has been fun.
It was good. So next week we've got Mel K coming in. I'm not saying her last name because it's like we're not going there. We're going to just have her come in and share her story and
Okay.
how she met her husband. Check out our social media sites and share, share, share. We'll see you next week, Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Have a blessed week.
Thank you for watching Faith Stories, where you will hear stories of hope, faith, and love. Please join us next week, and remember, God meets you where you are, but doesn't leave you where you are.